My name is Stephen Simons, and I too am a senior student athlete here at St. Joseph's on the men's basketball team. I'm pleased to introduce my father, Rick Simons, the former head men's basketball coach here, and a dear friend of the two inductees. My father will be presenting Joe and Joan Pappalardo for induction into the 2014 class of the Hall of Fame. Please welcome Rick Simons.
Again, I also congratulate all those that are being inducted tonight. Some wonderful memories, some wonderful athletes, and a special couple that, unlike most of those that we've inducted over the years, you know, it's a pleasure when I was called and asked to speak on their behalf. Fascinating because I never yelled at this couple, or pleaded with them, or threatened them. In 1979, I came to St. Joe's, and in 1986, by that time we had a pretty good program going. And I mentioned that year because in that winter, that was the year that Joe and Joan Pappalardo moved from New Jersey to Maine. I think it was to escape from New Jersey, from downtown Paramus, although Joe said he bowled 3 nights a week there in the bowling capital of the world. They were trying to decide whether to move to Florida or Maine in their golden years. Joan's father had grown up in Bar Mills. They had sons here that attended Masson and USM. So in December that year, I received a phone call from a man that asked me if he could come to see some of our practices. And I was immediately hesitant. Everybody wants to be involved. Everybody, you know, has ideas and opinions, but Joe was always, you know, the ultimate professional. When I spoke with him recently on the phone in preparation for this talk, I asked him how many practices he felt that he'd attended, and he quickly arrived at the figure several hundred. He said, I don't go as much now because Robbie has weird practice times, like 6 a.m. or late at night, and he says that's my TV time. So, what's made Joe and Joan such a special couple, and the reason that they are being honored here tonight, is not just their longevity, but their kindness, their goodness, and their easygoing manner. After they began to come to the games and practices, you know, they took on a role within our program, and they would always go out of their way to speak to the players, not necessarily just as players, but as people. If somebody was sick or injured, they'd always, you know, ask how they were and how they were doing. You know, if somebody had a bad game or didn't get in a game, they were there to offer words of encouragement. Everybody knew that if Joe or Joan came up to them, you never had to worry if something awkward was going to be said, because it was they were always kind, caring, and supportive. And I know it says in the program that Corey so beautifully put together that Joe and that they volunteered for 29 years for Camp Sunshine. Boy, that too is an amazing number. But I think the most amazing number is that they've been married over 64 years. They have, by their count, seen over 400 games, and that's just counting the men's games, because after coming to, originally just the men's games, they then realized that, hey, there's some pretty darn good women players here as well, and then they just made it the double headers that we've been able to have. As our friendship grew over the years, I began to invite them to accompany us on some of our road trips. Again, as it mentions in the program, they went to Hawaii, which they claimed was their favorite. They've been to Florida twice with us. They went to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands and discovered a place called Secret Harbor, where they've been back 10 times after that trip. And as always, on all of these trips, they were polite, respectful, and totally unobtrusive. They would do their thing during the day, and they'd always be there at night to root for the monks. When I asked Joan some of her thoughts on the memories that she's accumulated over the years, she mentioned the time when we were in Orlando and we went to see the Orlando Magic play. We sat in the third row from the top, and she said it was kind of neat. Shaquille O'Neal was a big star then with them. And she said he looked like an ant because we were so high. But she said that isn't what concerned me. What scared me was that I was so far away from the ladies' room, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get there in time if I needed to go. So, you know, she feels that this wonderful relationship with St. Joseph's College has kept both of them healthy and young over the years. She's quick to point out that they developed so many friendships, not just with the players, but also with the players' parents. They've, you know, we've been invited, quote, quote, we've been invited to so many weddings, and that means so much to us. And so what started in the Chamber of Horrors many years ago has come full circle to where we are tonight. And while these two individuals, you know, we're not going to talk about statistics, unlike many of the athletes. We're not going to talk about statistics, Will, tonight, are we? But I want to mention that these people certainly deserve to be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame because they are a huge part of the family. St. Joseph's College has always prided itself on being a family. And the far reaches and all of the tentacles that reach out and touch so many people in so many ways. And these two people, tonight they are going to be forevermore considered to be Hall of Fame inductees, but for those of us that have known them for over the years, they are true Hall of Famers in every sense of the word. Joan and Joan Pappalardo.
Thanks for introducing your dad. I have to mention, I know Stevie when he was born, and I can remember many nights at the Chamber of Horrors. That little kid, when he was about a year old, knew how to dribble a basketball and could put it through the net. He's a young man now and finishing up his college career here at St. Joe's, and it's been fun to watch him. Come on. I chose Rick because I knew if I chose Rick, we've been good friends for many years, I wouldn't have to say much. Just about everything I've written, there's 10 pages, you know what I'm saying. And Jamie and Ron, I saw playing down for a couple of weeks ago. And they said, make it short. And when I told him who was speaking, he said, oh, you won't have to say too much. But just to reconfirm some of the things that Rick said, first of all, I want to thank the committee for voting us in. It's been our pleasure. It's been part of our life. Like Camp Sunshine and my family, as you can see, the support of our grandkids. And it's an honor for us entering the Hall of Fame, and we appreciate it. We will still continue to support the program. Not only basketball, we've attended many of Will's baseball games, Jamie Spike's and Dick's softball games. And, one of the problems we're having now that our grandkids play high school sport and it's starting to interfere, so you gotta go to family first, then go to the second family, so we're not seeing as many games as we wanted to. But as Rick said, we moved up here in the 80s from Paramus, New Jersey, and Paramus High School was a Division IV school, which was the largest type of high school in New Jersey. We were accustomed to watching good athletic events from football, basketball, baseball, you name it. And we came up here and we saw Lake Region, we saw Wyndham at that time. It was almost like the football players were out trying to stay in shape, playing basketball. As Rick said, Gary mentioned St. Joe's, and that's when we came. And we watched a great player, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, Jeff Creech. You may not have seen a basketball player like him. He would down the court in 2 strides and score. And, today he's a father with 6 kids, so time goes fast. But anyway, we've been watching, we did go, as Rick said, we watched the first game, and the next day I called Rick, Boy, he was hesitant. He thought for sure I was one of the main coaches coming up and doing some scouting. Because at that time, we belonged in the main league, and Joan and I attended all the games at that point in time. And, but the look on his face, I knew it was the right answer, but he did say yes. It was nothing like watching a ball game in the Chamber of Horrors. The coaches didn't like to play there. I think, Rick, when we win 90-some odd home games, I think it was 95, 96. The referees didn't like to come because they had big guys sitting on the bench. Half their feet were out on the floor, there was no space there. And their feet were on the floor and their butts were on our knees, because we always chose to sit behind the players so I could hear them calling the plays, and then I knew what was coming. So, if Rick was there, I think I could have coached the team, right? You were a good teacher. In January, going over to Norwich, and the bus driver, instead of staying on 302, decided to take the Kangamangas Highway. And you're going up and down, around, in bumps. By the time we got to the end of it, I think we stopped at Burger King or one of the fast food places for lunch. Half the team couldn't eat, and a couple of them were barfing. How they played the game, I'll never know. They won. So we have a close relationship with the ladies too. Taking up a different way for me. But as I said earlier, St. Joe's means a lot to us, our grandchildren, our children, and we've had a good relationship, St. Joe's and Camp Sunshine over the years. Dick and Faith were here years ago when we started Camp Sunshine. We started with nothing. I needed a van to pick up parents coming in from out of town at the airports. Faith always had a van, we could supply a driver if we needed. We've had many of the nursing students coming up to Camp Sunshine and getting some good background experience of what they can expect if they go into the medical fields. But again, thanks for the ride. It's meant so much to us over the years between the 3 or 4 different things I mentioned. But Rick, after talking the other night, I started to think, I think we averaged about at least 20 games a year with the men, which bring us into about 400 games. And then we changed leagues, and we went to Mass, and I don't like to travel at night. I think we've seen about another 100. So I came in with 500 games there. They're using the same formula, 250 ladies games in the early days, and the last 10 years with the change in leagues 100. So I think we've seen a minimum of 850 basketball games here. As Rick said, God knows how many practices I saw. And Joan's got a couple of words that I took the meat out of. Get even with Rick.
See, that's what being married all these years has done.
Hold the mic down.
I'm quiet.
Lower the mic.
I'm very, very short, very short. I just wanted to say thank you to all the basketball players, both women and men, for giving us, through your exciting playing, many, many enjoyable hours. Also, through all of you, we have gotten to know your great parents, have gone to several of your weddings, and have enjoyed meeting your children. And once again, thank you from Joe and I. We really appreciate the honor that you've bestowed on us.